For those too young to recall that clear September day, it is hard to describe the mix of feelings we experienced. There was horror at the scale of destruction, and awe at the bravery and kindness that rose to meet it. There was shock at the audacity of evil, and gratitude for the heroism and decency that opposed it. In the sacrifice of the first responders, in the mutual aid of strangers, in the solidarity of grief and grace, the actions of an enemy revealed the spirit of a people, and we were proud of our wounded nation.
But these memorials are really important, but they're also incredibly difficult for the people who are affected by it, because it brings back the moment you got the phone call. It brings back that instant you got the news, no matter how many years go by. So I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking of all the people. When I was down at the Rug, talking to a number of family members who lost somebody. You know, think about it. Talk about genuine heroism. I'm not talking about the news media now, but think of all of you if you're on that plane, knowing two terrorists in the cockpit. How many of you said, I got a good idea. Let's go up and rush that cabin. Even though you knew that probably they're going to do something you're going to lose anyway, but it's one thing to say, I know I should step up, another thing to do it. That's genuine heroism. That's not on the margins, that's not, maybe you did it, I mean, you know, and I just think, I thought that President Bush made a really good speech today. Genuinely good speech about who we are. We're not, the core of who we are is not divided. It's just this notion of, I don't know how to explain it. I think, Jeff, I've talked to you a little about this. I think the real issue for those kids I just had a picture taken with, some of them had Trump hats from last year. I think for them it's going to be, are we going to, in the next 4, 5, 6, 10 years, demonstrate that democracies can work?
On the days that followed, September 11th, 2001, we were all reminded that unity is possible in America. We were reminded also that unity is imperative in America. It is essential to our shared prosperity, to our national security, and to our standing in the world.
I want to start today by making a note that this is the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. I think many Canadians remember, any Canadian who was of a certain age remember that day extraordinarily clearly. I was teaching in Vancouver that morning and remember talking to my grade 9 students all that day and every subsequent class about what this means for the future, what that meant for the present. And I think 20 years gone, we need to reflect on that day, on the thousands of people lost, including 24 Canadians, on the first responders, including a number of Canadians who showed up in the days and weeks afterwards to help, who rushed into danger. I think as well about Canadians who stepped up for each other. People in Newfoundland who, even as they are dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Larry, will think back to 20 years ago with well-earned pride at having welcomed thousands upon thousands of travelers into Gander, into homes, as Canadians did across the country from Halifax to Vancouver. And I also can't help on this anniversary to reflect on Muslim Canadians for whom things also change.
I would like to acknowledge today is the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001. On this day, we honor the memory of the 3,000 lives we lost, including 24 Canadian lives in these tragic attacks. And we honor the memory of the first responders who risked their lives that day to save others. Today is also the National Day of Service. So mark today with a commitment to remember.
A handful of dates are etched into our collective memory, some joyous, others tragic. 20 years ago, September 11th, 2001, became, in President Roosevelt's words after Pearl Harbor, a date which will live in infamy. On a crystal clear morning, terrorists attacked the United States with the simple goal of killing or maiming as many human beings as possible. And by inflicting such bloodshed in the world's greatest democracy, they tried to destroy the faith of free peoples everywhere, in the open societies which terrorists despise and which we cherish. And it's precisely because of the openness and tolerance of the United States that people of almost every nationality and religion were among the 2,977 murdered on that day, including 67 Britons, each of them a symbol of the eternal friendship between the United Kingdom and the United States.
For the last 20 years, what the families who suffered so much have shown is the very best in this city and the very best in this nation. Because you did not turn away from each other, you turned toward each other. And I know it was never easy to put up with the pain, the weight, every single day, what you had to go through just to keep going.